Imagine thinking that what we need more of in the United States of America is 14-year-olds with only an 8th grade education going into industry and working.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Let's talk about this Indiana Republican. This is crazy. We talked about in, last year in Southern Labor, the review, about how, child labor has been a big story, both in it happening and in, Republicans seeing it happening and saying, oh, wow, that's based. Let's have more of that. And there's another instance of that happening last week in Indiana where State Representative Joanna King, a Republican from the 49th District, she authored it with two co-authors, Matt Lehman from the 79th District and David Abbott from the 18th District, all three Republicans. They filed a new bill that would allow 14-year-old children to drop out of school after 8th grade and work 40 hours a week on the farm. So, it's almost difficult to know what else to say to that other than, that's wicked and perverse and all of this kind of stuff. But just so that you don't think that I'm being hyperbolic, I saw this from More Perfect Union and they linked to the bill's text, and so I pulled it. And so this is the bill's text, okay? So first it defines, quote, exempted minor, because later on they're going to say an exempted minor has the authority to do this. Okay, so what is an exempted minor? An exempted minor refers to a minor who has, one, been excused from compulsory school attendance after completing grade 8, and two, whose parent submits to the minor's current or prospective employer a signed statement from the parent declaring that the minor has been excused from school after completing grade 8, and B, proof supporting the statement made under Clause A. Okay, so there we go. That's who this person is. That's who an exempted minor is. An exempted minor is somebody who's been excused from education by their parents, and whose parents have proved that. So here is the new thing. An exempted minor who is at least 14 years of age and less than 18 years of age may work at farm labor during school hours on a school day. Subject to subsection B, an exempted minor who is at least 14 years of age and less than 16 years of age may work during school hours on a school day. This subsection does not apply to an exempted minor who works at farm labor as described in section 14.5 of this chapter. An exempted minor described in subsection A may not work as follows: before 7 a.m. or after 7 p.m., blah, 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 blah. But it goes on to say that, yeah, you can work 8 hours on a school day, 40 hours in a school week, 8 hours on a non-school day, and 40 hours in a non-school week if you have been exempted from school after 8th grade by your parents. On the farm, like specifically on the farm for some reason. Just really crazy stuff. Imagine thinking that, what we need more of in the United States of America is 14-year-olds with only an 8th grade education going into industry and working. Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
They do say "Make America Great Again," and
right. So there is a call to the past there.
There's a call to the past, and they like to talk about the good old days. And,
right.
and in the good old days, folks worked on the farm. I am only like a generation removed from the farm myself. Both of my parents grew up on farms, did lots of, farm labor, of course, around in the family. But the idea that, we want to return to this being a common practice, right? The county school systems
right.
in Alabama used to set their calendar around harvest, and it used to be very common that folks would come and go, to school, not consistently because of farm labor, right? They had,
right.
It's time for the harvest, so not going to see little Johnny for a while. Yeah, it's just, it's depressing, I guess. It's a reminder that history really is important, because you see where so many of these issues that we battled in the Gilded Age are back, and we are in a Gilded Age. We are very much in a like, that is the situation we find ourselves with an oligarchy that is determined to make conditions worse, and you have employers who are trying to squeeze as much as they possibly can out of working people who've seen their living standards deteriorate for the last 50 years. And you know, this battle over child labor is an area where our labor movement better be involved and better be vocal, because it's too important to move backwards on this. This is one of our proudest accomplishments as a movement, was getting children off the farms, out of the mills, out of the mines, right, and into schools. That is our legacy as a union movement. And so we have to be at the forefront. We have to be building coalitions with the community, including in the immigrant community, right? Because so many of these children that are being exploited are migrant children. And so, again, our labor movement has a responsibility there to build coalitions and to work with those communities. And there are some issues of tension and trust there that have to be overcome, but it's worth it, because we can't see this. We can't see a return of children into the workforce. It's not acceptable. In the year 2024, this joker wants to do this.
Right. It's it's wild. I don't understand how, and then there are some people who still go on believing that, Republicans' family values. That's kind of their thing. Family values. They love families.
Well, and, there are some people who would say that this is perfectly acceptable for family values, that it is good for these kids. And that, these are probably the kids who aren't going to college anyway, right?
Right.
So at least they're doing something productive, right? And I just really find that offensive. Every kid deserves an opportunity to be a kid and to learn as much as they possibly can, so they can go on to be the kind of adult that they can be, to the fullest of their potential. And, to exploit children. It also reminds me that we as a labor movement have to be really engaged with young people, and have to be in communication and dialogue and building relationships with the young people, because you go ask a lot of 14-year-olds and they might actually be down for it. Because a lot of them are disgruntled with school, right? School feels very much industrial and oppressive to a lot of children. And so there are, I can tell you right now, my wife's students, a lot of them would say, yeah, I'd rather go to work than come to school.
Right.
As teenagers. And so we have work to do there on the value of education and the value of actually, not entering the workforce as a child. Right. But we have a responsibility, I think, to educate and organize young people so that they know their rights. Because, we do still have some protections for them. Not enough, but we need to ensure that.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.